Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Tulley, President and Executive Writing Coach at Defend, Publish, and Lead. And welcome to episode 136, Write the First Week of Class, Part 2. Way back in, I don't even remember what month, but episode 34, I did an episode on writing the first week of class during the semester. And I believe that episode was released one of the years in August. We've been around for a long time now with 136 episodes. But what I ended up thinking about during that time frame was how important it was to think about scholarship first when everything else is happening at the same time. And I'm coming from that perspective because I work with a program at my university with second year faculty where during the first year they focus on teaching. Of course, they're doing some scholarship and they're working on those things. But in the second year, we really focus on having good scholarly habits, basically working on scholarship and writing and working for publication as part of a scholarly rhythm or a scholarly lifestyle. And so one of the things I challenged all of those second year faculty to do was to write the first week of class. And this seems very counterintuitive because especially in August, when the semester starts for me, or September, it might be for you, a lot of faculty are working on other things. For example, I have 3 course preps for this particular semester. This episode's being released in the fall of 2023. And, if school starts in a week, I'm still working on those course preps. I'm not finished. Hopefully I will be by the time this episode comes out, or that would be very sad. But, it's very tempting to just say, oh, I don't care about scholarship right now. I need to ramp up for my teaching. I need to get those committee meetings on my schedule. At my institution, and I know at many others, there's lots of required trainings and workshops before we start back. So time is even more compressed because you're actually, I would argue I'm definitely busier than in a regular academic week. And so one of the things that I tried to think about was in the week before classes started, making sure that I'm working through all of that prep work. But once the first week of class starts, and preferably the first day of class, for me is August 14th. That day, I'm planning to be writing. I will report on how that went and to make sure that I am getting some scholarly writing done. But one of the things that I found out is if you wait, it sometimes becomes very, very difficult to get scholarly writing in a regular rhythm once you've got other habits entrenched. Every semester is different. Course loads are different. Assignments are different. Students are different. So what I was finding with my second year faculty was that many of them would say, I will worry about writing after Labor Day in the US. So that usually happens the first week in September, somewhere around September. And for me, that was a way that I could think through how to, like if I would talk with them about how to do writing, they would say, well, I'm just going to focus on my teaching for these first 2 weeks. But what happens as soon as we have Labor Day, so after 2 weeks are completed, usually there's some grading coming in for courses. So that takes time back again. But also there's just other habits that have set in by then. So for example, if you're used to having a couple of students come and chat with you after class, they will keep chatting with you after class. And so that's no longer time that maybe you thought you were going to do some writing, you're not going to do any writing. And that's not good or bad. It's just to say that it's better to get that scholarly writing rhythm in your ideal spot before all these other things happen and other routines and rhythms get set in, because it's just very difficult to change them once they do. So for me, one of the things I tried to think about for this particular semester is, all right, when are my best, I have kids at home. I mentioned on the podcast, when are my best child-free times when I'm at work? That's the best time for me to be writing personally. So I've identified those areas. I've blocked off those areas on my calendar. So that's one of the ways that I'm going to make sure that I write during that first week of class. But in my mind, I'm writing either the Monday or the Tuesday. I'm not going as long as Wednesday. I'm going to make sure it happens Monday or Tuesday during that very first week, because I want to make sure that I'm prioritizing it. So here's another way to think about it. I challenge the second year faculty to try to adopt a mindset where at least some of the days during the week, the mindset is scholarship first, not teaching first. That doesn't mean they don't care about their students. We're a teaching focused institution. I'm not saying that, but just on some days, scholarship has the priority. So I know with one faculty member, she teaches every single morning. And so she said to me, well, by the time I've taught all my classes, we have a 4-4 teaching load. So she teaches 4 courses. She teaches them, she has really stacked mornings full of teaching. And so one of the ways we talked about being able to write during the first week of class is to have some way that she's resetting her day. So in one of our episodes, I don't remember which one, there was a piece of advice I heard on another podcast or read somewhere, but it was basically about just resetting your day at 1 p.m. So no matter what happened in the morning, if everything blew up, everything was off the rails, at 1 o'clock, you got a second chance. You got a second chance to start over. And so in her case, we talked about some things that she could do. She could change locations. She could take a walk. She could have some lunch. She could get all her materials. She could, find a new place that she was going to work on her project. And so at least for right now, she likes this one classroom that has really great windows, has a great view. Nobody tends to be using it in the afternoon, and she could see the classroom from her office. So she's never written in there before, but I know that was one thing that she identified as her way to remind herself every time she looks up and sees this classroom with these gorgeous windows, that's where she's going to do her writing. And she made it a point to just say, I need to write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If I don't write after that, if I don't write, who cares? But if I can get the first 3 days of the weekend, it's good enough. So one of the things I challenge you this week to think about is just where can you get some writing done? If your semester's already started by the time you've listened to this episode, really look in the week and see if you can find some time to block out time to get some writing done. Of course, if you're, fortunate enough to, be in a situation where maybe you're not teaching this semester, you're on a sabbatical, you have a fellowship, you have something where maybe teaching isn't the thing, still take a look in there and see if you can get some writing in before September, if at all possible. Because it just seems that once the fall gets rolling, you've already lost a couple of weeks. And that I always say that to the second year faculty, and they always get very, very sad and disturbed about it. But at least in our case, at the type of university system I have, where my semester is 16 weeks, if they don't write for the first 2, and then they lose a little bit of time around that Labor Day holiday, because it's just a long weekend in the US, people tend to take vacations and things like that. Really, they're not getting started until the very tail end of week 3. And, many of them, they flat out know that they're not going to probably start writing on a Thursday or a Friday. They want to start at the beginning of the week. So by then we're already in week 4. So I know just kind of showing the logistics and the time has been helpful. So let us know how it goes. We are moving more over to LinkedIn instead of Twitter. You've probably seen we haven't been tweeting quite as much. We may move out to other social media platforms, but at the moment we're still Twitter and LinkedIn. So, we will be posting things occasionally during the week, but if you want to engage with us, we encourage you to check us out on LinkedIn. Look for Defend, Publish, and Lead, and happy writing this week.